There's a long list of classic British motorsport venues, but none feel quite like Donington Park. Fast sweepers, elevation changes, and a couple of hairpins, it's an eclectic circuit to say the least, fitting then for an eclectic field of drivers in BSRTC spring season in 2022. We're excited to get things underway for round number 2. Hi, welcome to Pit Stop TV, the virtual Donington Park. I'm Andrew Cardinale IV with JP Costa joining me, and JP, welcome back to touring cars, especially at Donington Park.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be back here after the 4 amazing races we had in Silverstone last week. I'm just so excited to be, back in Donington as we were on Tuesday, but on that occasion we were with the MX-5. Now we're with the TCRs, and Andrew, by the looks of the sim, it looks like a very, very British day, very cloudy, kind of dark. It's just a home race for these guys.
Certainly overcast. That is the feeling today, and it's certainly going to affect tire temps. We'll get to that in just one moment. Qualifying is wrapping up. Let's take a quick look then at the Donington Park racing circuit. And, obviously we saw this on Tuesday. Red gate, that's the first kind of separator. If you're going to separate an egg white from an egg yolk, that feels like the first place to do it. Down the Craner curves, things are going to get real tight. 3 wide isn't going to work, 2 wide might work, but really, you've got to come down those Craner curves single file as much as possible. Down to the old hairpin, that's your first real big passing opportunity, especially if you miss out on red gate. Red gate can be forced if you need to on lap 1, but old hairpin feels like the place to do it. Starkey's Bridge and that whole complex through 5, 6, and up to McLean's, that's a lot of fun, and again, tends to separate the field out, and that's where you tend to see your first couple of incidents if you don't in the first 4 corners.
Absolutely. Then obviously we had its Coppice turn 8, then that big straightaway, Andrew. Plenty of moves to be made on turn 8, but obviously the straightaway. Then we head into the S's. Normally the driver on the inside will have the advantage, but the driver on the outside can get him on the exit, especially on the run down the hill, down into the Melbourne hairpin turn 11. Then obviously we go quickly uphill to the final corner. That's where we saw plenty of moves happening as well on the MX-5 races, and well, that's just one lap. We get to do it a lot of times here tonight.
A quick look at standings before we get going today. James Holman leads the way over Chris Knox, and neither one of these two are even in the top 5 in qualifying times just yet. In fact, neither one of them are in the top 8. You got to go down to 9th place in qualifying currently to find James Holman, so things are going to change. You see Andy McEwen leading the way in Pro-Am, and guess what? He's leading the way in qualifying. He just might get himself a pole position here before things are done. Joe Winter, he's looking pretty all right in qualifying as well, checking in at 10th, and he's 5th there in the standings. But look at Adam Fox, an amateur driver, 6th place on the point standings. Yeah, we've got a lot that it's going to change, I think, today. I don't see any of these positions holding throughout the course of the afternoon.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think they're going to hold at all. We can see a lot of drivers separated by 1, 2, maybe 3 points. So it's just going to be really close. And obviously, with the amount of points that we have, especially after 4 races, there's still going to be plenty of moves. And, well, Andy McEwen looks like with time running out, he's only 38 thousandths of a second ahead of Michael Seal and Nathan Davies. And we have to look all the way back to 4th place to find our first pro driver, and that's going to be Daly. So a really impressive qualifying by the Pro-Am drivers. And yeah, just still plenty more to come.
There's a look at car 504. Andy McEwen looking good today. Sam Smith is the next fastest driver that's still on the racetrack. Car 527, a Pro-Am driver himself. He was looking good last week at Silverstone. Joe Winter in car 11 sporting that new Hyundai Veloster. I like seeing the Velosters out here. Especially alongside of the Elantras in the field. Mick Anderson, car number 66. He's brand new to the field. He checks in currently from the 12th spot. So we're seeing a lot of pros and pro-ams mixing around a lot more than we've ever seen before, JP. I wonder if this is going to be the new normal.
It could definitely be. After last week, it could have been a fluke, but it seems like that's going to be, the rule, especially here today in qualifying. Obviously, during race pace, things might switch up a little bit. But yeah, so far, seems like the Pro-Am drivers are ready to mix it up, and I guess if it was just a full-on class injury, just Pro-Am and Am drivers, it still would be, one fantastic championship.
There's a look at Scott Smith, car 502. There's a lot of new drivers in here today. In fact, adding to this season, the season opener we had at Silverstone last week. So we're up to 31 cars. Let's go ahead and take a look at the season schedule as qualifying comes down to a wrap. We've talked a little bit about, of course, Silverstone last week, Donington Park this evening. Look towards Knock Hill next week. That's where things are really going to change, I think, certainly because we're on the reverse course. And then we go from 3 British rounds to 7 American rounds in a row. 6 of them here stateside, 1 of them up in Canada. It's going to be a big change of racetracks for these guys.
Absolutely. Obviously, they're kind of running away from the oranges, and especially what we had last season. But it's still going to be an amazing, I guess, how can I say? It's going to be an amazing, different experience, coming to British racing courses like Donington and obviously Knock Hill next week, and then going to Sonoma, completely different race course, Road America, very large, very big as well, and then Canadian Tire, Watkins Glen, Road Atlanta, Daytona. They're very familiar. They raced here last season, in Sebring as well. So it's gonna be lots of fun seeing the North American side of the racing, especially with these guys in these cars as well.
3 cars serving a quali ban, and they will start from the rear, but 28 took a ton. Let's go ahead and go through as many of them as we can here before we get racing. Andy McEwen on pole, a Pro-Am driver on pole at Donington Park. How about that? Michael Steele will roll off from the second position. Starting third, you'll find car 555. That's Nathan Davies. Stephen Daly, however, is your pro pole sitter in 4th place in car number 4. Starting 5th, you'll find Sam Smith, then it's Shane Piggott starting from that 6th spot. Starting 7th, it'll be Daniel Martin in car 567. His fan club is already here today. James Neve in position number 8. To round out your top 10 of the starting grid, it's James Holman and Joe Winter.
11th place will go the ways of Scott Malcolm. Alongside him, Mick Anderson, 12th place on his number 66. 13th place will go the ways of Lee Holmes and Carl Hardy in 14th place on his number 573. 15th place and row number 8 is going to be Tom Mayle on the inside and Scott Smith on the outside in 16th place. 17th place on the inside line is going to be Martin Shirley in the number 5 and Craig Schill, the number 582 on the outside. 19th place will go the ways of Ian Manners in the number 501 and the 585 of Rob Jackson in 20th place.
Starting 21st, you'll find car 568, Rob Sutherland to Pro-Am now with Roger Morton starting from 22nd. Starting 23rd, it'll be Duncan Cope in car 912, one of the best amateur drivers in the field, with Mark Oliver rolling off from 24th. 25th, you'll find Dale Bennison in 937. Fiona Siddon starts off from 26th spot. Starting 27th, it'll be car number 999, Andrew Littler, with Sir Alan Toon, his teammate, alongside in those 2 result cars. The back end of the field, the 3 cars that had to serve a quality ban, those are Neil Ferrier, I'm not sure which. I'm going to go with Ferrier. I like that a whole lot better. Robin Walters starts from that 30th position, and starting shotgun on the entire field, Martin Johnson, making a field of 31. And look at that, the last car gridded up. We are ready to go racing then at Donington Park for the first time today. Ready to get after it with Andy McEwen on pole. First of 4 races, and green flag is out. We're racing at Donington. Already, McEwen's teammate Seal is through to the lead, so Michael Steele taking over. 1 car out in the dirt. Oh, and he comes back on. Shane Piggott causes a massive collision. Oh, my goodness.
It's going to be one of the largest we probably will see throughout the season. Drivers looks like they're still crashing, some trying to avoid it. And how many cars were there, Andrew? Wow. Still looks like suffering a little bit. I think over 8 or maybe 10 cars were involved in that first lap incident.
We'll get a replay of it in a moment. McEwen back through to the lead. Here comes Daly on the inside of Seal. Contact there as they go through McLean's. Car 555, Nathan Davies. He's up into this battle now as well. 4 cars up to Coppice. One of them trying to lead away. That's Andy McEwen. Oh, contact there with Davies and Seal.
Really interesting racing, really hard racing as well. A bit of door banging, kind of what we love to see. As you can see, Seal flashing his headlights in disapproval of the move, but it looks like he's going to drop all the way down to 4th place. So leading lap number 1, Andrew already dropped down to 4th. So not the greatest of starts.
A really wild start to things here in the first race of BSRTC round number 2. We've still got some calamity. Michael Steele losing more positions. He lost some spots down the Starkey Straight, now battling with, giving up time to Joe Winter and more. He got a slowdown, I think, at the chicane and really had to give up time into Melbourne Hairpin. Race leader, though, Andy McEwen, going to wrap up lap number 1 in the lead. Let's go ahead and take a look at whatever happened on lap number 1. Really big calamity, and I know that Shane Piggott was at the center of it, but it started beyond that.
Yeah, it started just on the exit of turns 1 and 2.
Oh, Winter got a great start in car 11. Look at him through the middle. Rewind there. Piggott turns in. How does he end up in the dirt? He gets hit, pushed off in the grass, comes back over, and it's this where he's just turning back onto the circuit. He absolutely wipes some people out.
And you can see just by how tight the track is, there's not a lot of room to to avoid a contact, especially a car going pretty much sideways 90 degrees perpendicular to the racetrack. That's, well, just allows one lane. So a few drivers tried to take a little bit of avoiding action, but ended up not being enough. And
that was Holman who made contact with Piggott initially. So right at the, well, yeah, and Piggott gave him enough room, and then Holman came over, shoved him off in the dirt. And this is where Piggott comes back across the field. And I mean, this is really, really big to start the race.
This reminds me of what, Spa 98 in that F1 race just outside of the first corner.
A big calamity there, first lap through. Andy McEwen going to be your race leader through Melbourne. Hairpin now for the second time. We're expecting 9 laps in each of these races today. McEwen has led both of them, and he's going to try and keep it that way as we come through Goddard's for the second time today. There you see your running order now on the left side of the screen. Daly in second place, Nathan Davies in third. It's already an eclectic, I'm going to use eclectic, it seems like a lot today, an eclectic way to get, anyway, an eclectic top 10 with McEwen leading, Daly second, Davies in third. This is a really weird running order. Holman there in the 4th spot. Really weird things to get things started.
Yeah, absolutely. But very interesting as well. It's going to be interesting to see how Daly, in his debut race, if I'm not mistaken, is going to fend off against Davies, who's obviously a seasoned driver around here. And obviously, Andrew, I think as well, during the break, you're going to have to explain to me what eclectic means. That's not in my dictionary, but you can see here Davies struggling a little bit, clipping the grass just before turn 7. That's going to cost him a few tenths of a second. But Daly looks like he's having to defend more from Davies than what he can focus to attack McEwen.
Yeah, on board here with Nathan Davies in car 555, second in Pro-Am. And much of the field already wiped out. In fact, from 23rd on back, that's 8 cars or so, they are all out of the race. And that's Roger Morton, Sam Smith, Fiona Siddons, Shane Piggott, Daniel Martin, Robin Walters, Martin Johnson, Scott Malcolm, and Lee Holmes. They're all out of this race already. Here's a nice little battle, though, down to the S's. Oh, car 502, Scott Smith, very close there to Martin Shirley. And now Neil Ferrier is going to take advantage of that.
Yeah, you can see Neil trying to go down the inside of Shirley. Not close enough. It's going to have to hold off a little bit. Now, Shirley looks like he got a great exit. It might challenge Winter coming into the final corner. He's on the outside. Shirley is the number 5 driver. Can he force his car around the outside? Looks like not quite, opening up a little bit to get a better exit. But looks like Winter, for the time being, will hold off as Holman sets the fastest lap of the race. He's currently in 4th. But this battle right here, Andrew, I expect Shirley to maybe look down the inside of turn number 1. Will we see that move happening? Yes, we will. Just like that, it happens. But looks like Winter just gives him enough room on the inside. And, well, they're going to drag race side by side down the hill.
Well, it's actually Shirley defending. Ferrier there with the advance there at a turn 1 into Redgate. Joe Winters up the road. He's into turn 4 already. Scott Smith just behind these guys. James Neve as well. The car 5, Martin Shirley defending here over Neil Ferrier. Now, Ferrier was great last week. Got a couple of wins, right? I got to go back to my listing here. Just absolutely fantastic. Yeah, won the first and last race of the day. Makes a pass there in McLean's. Yeah, winning races 1 and 4 last week. Ferrier was very, very good.
Yeah, absolutely. And so far, he's doing what he needs to do because he's just getting that position. And, well, he's going to have to defend really hard to defend on the exit of turn 8. Looks like he's going to have that inside line. He's going to hug to the left side of the racetrack, and you can see enter this drag race. It's really good. You can see the Veloster trying to look down the outside. Unfortunately, he's going to be compromised. The number 5, wow, holds it side by side to the chicane. That was beautiful by both of them, really clean, and they both come out with no damage.
Look at James Neve up the inside now, Smith.
Oh, he might almost look dishing.
James Neve with a big move there into Melbourne. Now work up to Goddard's now. Tom Mayle losing a couple of spots. This is a nice gaggle up ahead. Mayle just lost that position to Michael Seal. Now Michael Seal, this is a very underrated driver, I feel like, in this series. He got a win, I do believe, last season. I want to say at Daytona. He's run some really good races. He's also had some really bad luck. I think Knock Hill comes to mind for Michael Seal. And just a couple of really rough goes of things. But I think is one of the more underrated drivers in this field. Just sits nice and quietly and accepts usually when it's not going to go his way. But today, pretty aggressive there at the start. Got the race lead by Redgate. Lost it pretty quickly, admittedly, but certainly here to race.
Absolutely. He's always here to race. He always wants to put on a good performance. But as you mentioned, luck is not always on his side. Looks like who is always side by side, Andrew, are these two still going at it. Looks like they dropped out of the 10, out of the top 10. Looks like they're battling actually for the final spot in the top 10 as Shirley gets that position. You can see those two drivers battling behind him. Almost went side by side, but boy, it looks like this battle is definitely not going anywhere. It's just switching left, right, and center, and they're still going for it. Shirley is leading currently this pack. He's in 10th place. Just behind him is Sam Smith and then James Neve.
A little further back in the field, in fact, way further back in the field, right towards the back of it, Alan Toon has just made a pass on Carl Hardy. This is for the 19th position. Hardy, of course, wants to get that one back. Hardy, a Pro-Am driver. Sir Alan Toon, seemingly bringing the heat this season. I like to see this. Going up there, making some passes, certainly racing for these positions. And, boy, I like this for car 965. We haven't seen much of Sir Alan Toon when it comes to racing wheel to wheel. We usually see him kind of hanging back and minding his own business, just happy to be here. But I like it when he gets up there and races, up into position number 19. And we'll see where he can go throughout the day. Craig Schill as well, working on Ian Manners. This is for 14th position on the racetrack. Schill, one of the amateur drivers. No Pro-Am drivers now. And definitely needs some points. Had a great season last time around, both in the Miatas and here in the touring cars, and wants to back that up. And if we go over the points, actually, Craig Schill comes into today, I want to stay a little ways behind. Now, of course, these two series, they tend to mix me up a little bit, but if we go over to standings, I'm doing so on my other monitor, Schill, yeah, a little ways behind, certainly. Comes in 16th spot. And when you're racing in Pro-Am and you've got McEwen in third and as a Pro-Am driver, you've got to work your way up. You cannot be 16th if you want to win this championship. So Craig Schill learning quickly that things are pretty tough in Pro-Am.
Absolutely.
Oh, big move there, McLean's.
Yeah, he's not wasting any time whatsoever. Already making moves down the inside of turn 7. He's going to have the inside line up into turn 8. He should have that position. Well, just as I say that, unfortunately, he's not able to capitalize. But Andrew, once you have, this strong of a grid in the Pro-Am class, battling, you cannot afford to lose too much time, on, let's say, the back end of the grid. And we all know how fast Craig Schill is. I know he's gonna bounce back really soon, so it's just a question of, getting the right laps in, getting the good luck in as well. And, well, I'm sure we're gonna see him plenty times inside the top 10, if not the top 5.
Still on board with Craig Schill here. And this is a good opportunity, JP, to watch an onboard lap here at Donington Park. We don't get to do this all that often, but what stands out to you as he works this Honda Civic around?
Well, I think the elevation changes, and obviously on the TCRs, I would argue that, the long corners where you really have to turn while keeping the power, while keeping the car on throttle, it's really hurting, and obviously it requires a bit of skill to, modulate that throttle, not going full throttle like you maybe would go on a Miata, but, just letting off the throttle a little bit to let the front tires bite. Obviously this section right here, turns 3, and then down into this section to that fast corner. I really love this. It's all about confidence. You can kind of cut a little bit of this corner just on that dirt, and you can extend a little bit, but it's just, this track is just so amazing, and the flowing section of it, it's just one of the biggest challenges, especially on the TCR.
You can kind of see that battle up ahead with James Neve, Rob Sutherland, Martin Shirley, and some others. We'll get there in just 1 second as soon as Craig Schill rounds Coppice. We've done about a lap on board with him as, they're making contact, and one car is off. Martin Shirley now in the dirt. He's going to come back now to the hands of Ian Manners, right to Craig Schill as well. So Martin Shirley set back, and that was with some contact, I believe, with Sutherland, as Sutherland now drops back with James Neve, and it looks like Scott Smith will get a chance to drive away from this group. So, just as I said we're going to switch up there, the battle kind of comes to us.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the curse this time worked wonders, Andrew. As you can see, even further battle up here on the top 5. Looks like this is Anderson chasing Seal, and yeah, this is a battle for the top 5. So, no, this is chasing Holman. So
no, it's there at the line. So what that says then is Holman just got by Seal, or Seal just got by Anderson, and I think it was Seal getting by Anderson. If I recall, Seal was in the 6th spot, so just made this pass on car 66. And James Neve is down into the pit lane.
So, yeah, maybe just exceeding the instant points with 3 minutes to go, Andrew. I wouldn't say that's too unlikely to happen. Looks like he's going to tow back to the pit lane, so unfortunately to see that happening. But as we cut back to this battle right here, plenty of things happening. Yeah, this is Daly chasing down McEwen. He hasn't given up. He really closed up the gap. So, Andrew, that tire situation we mentioned pre-race, this could be affecting a few of these drivers. You can see Davies going a little bit wide on turn number 7. So, McEwen could be suffering a little bit. The tire, you can see the track temperature, 66 degrees Fahrenheit, is not too hot, so he may just worn out those tires by dragging them.
Now, Daly's number has not been set by the league just yet, but it should be car 564, so he is a Pro-Am. We've got 3 Pro-Ams battling in this podium. When did we see this? Oh, on Tuesday with the MX-5s. We've seen this before this week, JP. It seems like we've got a Pro-Am renaissance here in BSR.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Pro-Am's really stepping up the game, not only in the MX-5, but also in the TCR. As we're approaching 2 minutes and 10 to go, the question will be, how can Daly really close up that gap to maybe around 1/10 of a second, and where he can make this move? You know, we all know turn 1 is a very likely place for that to happen. Down in the back straightaway, up into Coppice, down into Melbourne. Plenty of opportunities for him, but he needs to be closer.
Just watching this top pair. About 2 laps to go now, and Daly just starting to close in again on McEwen. So you just listed some passing opportunities then, JP, and especially with Nathan Davies just behind. If you're Stephen Daly, where do you make that pass?
With 1 minute 30 to go, we really need to make a move in a place that, you know, doesn't allow McEwen to fight back so early. Probably down into turn 1 would be a good spot, you know, just trying to muscle your way through maybe. Obviously, down into the Melbourne happen is also a good opportunity, or maybe just into Coppice, you know, get a good run, maybe go deep on their braking right here. You can see McEwen already flashing headlights towards the lapped car ahead, so he doesn't want to be bothered at all. He does not want to lose any time, but that lapped car also wants to be on the lead lap, Andrew, to be eligible for the invert.
And that lap car does eventually give that spot up. That was Andrew Littler in car 999. He, in fact, was already a lap down, it looks like. So he gives that one up a little bit more. Martin Shirley currently the last car in the lead lap, but he is in the garage. He has parked the car, at least for the moment. So Stephen Daly, oh, he makes a big mistake into Melbourne. Very late on the brakes. Nearly gives up an opportunity there to Nathan Davies. And Davies is one driver that if he sees an open door, he will stick his foot on through. He will try and take that opportunity. Look at Davies close in right there in Goddard's. White flag this time by White Flag presented by Whiplash Simcams. And this field has actually put up pace to go for a 10th lap of racing. That's the 10th lap we've just begun.
There you go. So one final lap, the 10th lap, as you mentioned, Andrew. And you can see Holman trying to close in the gap to the top 3. He wants those top 3 to go side by side in battle to make sure he has any sort of opportunity. But so far, he gets the perfect view to see what's happening up ahead. McEwen still leading Daly, that's still leading Davies. And he also entered in 4th place. He's the leader of the pro class, believe it or not. As you can see, McEwen looks like he got a bad exit. That really closed up the gap between the top 3.
Up to McLean's they'll go. A really good battle, and does Daly look down to the bottom? No, he stays behind McEwen for now. And Davies is all over him like an ant on honey. We've got a battle up to Coppice now. Davies falls back in behind Daly. Still a line of 3 cars, and McEwen is backing them all up to James Holman, and Holman will get aggressive too.
This feels like Lewis Hamilton backing Nico Rosberg into the other Ferraris, but you can see here, looks like Davies is trying to make a move into on Daly. Daly really closes the gap, really goes aggressive there. He may have cut that corner, may have to yield some time. And look at Holman, he's got a good run over Davies. He might look down the inside. Actually, he will look down the inside into Melbourne. He will get that position under braking. Looks like Daly did not get a penalty. Look at Davies trying to fight back.
This isn't over yet. Down to Goddard's. Here we go. Davies around the outside. Holman on the bottom, and Daly with no opportunity to get after McEwen. Holman wants to get up onto the overall podium, and he will do exactly that. Checkered flag is out in race 1 at Donington Park, and McEwen is your winner.
He held off the pressure pretty well. Holman is going to win the pro class in 3rd place. Davey Seal Anderson the top 6. Then Tom Mayo in 7th place for the number 77. Ferrier in 8th. Winter 9th. And Smith in 10th place. Looks like he's flashing his head like he might be happy.
The rest of the field will come on through, and we'll get our spinny wheel ready in just one moment. A couple more battles come to the line, and JP, put you on the spot as I usually do. What's your call out for the first invert of the day?
17 seems to be the lucky number, but this time I'm going to go a little bit different. And let's go for full on the first race.
Going for full for the first invert of the day. That is definitely bold. Here comes the battle. I believe this is... Is that Sir Alan Toon? I think so. Might have been Sir Alan Toon and Mark Oliver. That was a good battle there to the line. That was for 18th position. Now Barney is still waiting on somebody to come to the line, and I believe that is Lee Holmes. Yes, that is. He is already 6 laps down after that opening crash on lap number 1. So he comes across, Barney puts his flag down, and we get ready then for our first invert on the afternoon. You can see we've added those few values from last week to this week. We had those in for Tuesday. Let's give it a spin, see where we land for our first invert. Is it going to be full? JP, go grab yourself a lottery ticket.
No. Well, the last race last week, the last race on Tuesday was full and well, we're going to start with it.
We had 17 full and 17, so it was the middle invert that we had that was full on Tuesday. Now we're starting off with full. We're going to have full 17 full.
Oh, it would definitely be interesting. And it was bang on in the middle as well, so wow.
So a full invert on the day. Let's go ahead and go back over to the sim and grab our race results from race number 1. Andy McEwen there, excuse me, Andy McEwen winning race number 1. Stephen Daly, he's in car 4, but he's supposed to be listed as car 564. That should change, hopefully, but regardless, he is a Pro-Am driver, so it's actually not for the Pro win. It is Holman with the Pro win in car 31, and Nathan Davies there in 4th, your Pro-Am podium. Michael Steele takes the top 5 overall. Mick Anderson, Tom Mail, they complete the Pro podium. Down to Neil Ferrier there in position number 8. Joe Winter in 9th. And Scott Smith rounds out your top 10 in race 1.
11th place goes the way of Rob Sutherland. Ian Manners in 12th place. Craig Schill in 3rd. Rob Jackson 14th, 13th for Craig Schill. Duncan Cope in 15th. 16th for Colin Hardy. Dale Bennison in 17th. Sir Alan Toon in 18th place. Mark Oliver, the last driver to finish on the lead lap, in 19th place. And Andrew Littler in 20th place, albeit 2 laps down.
Finishing 21st, you'll find Robin Walters there in car 563. Martin Shirley finishes 22nd. 3 laps down. So that invert's not going to extend even this far back. Let's go ahead and actually bring this up one more time. The invert will only extend down there to Mark Oliver. So it's full, technically, but it's only 19 cars that are eligible for that invert. Andrew Littler will miss out there in 20th. And again, here we go a little further behind. You get James Deave there in 23rd, Lee Holmes 24th, Daniel Martin in 25th, Shane Piggott, Martin Johnson, Roger Morton, Scott Malcolm, and Sam Smith round out your top 30 with just Fiona Siddons there in 31st position. That's race 1 out of the way, which means we get ready then for race number 2 on the afternoon. It's technically a full invert, but it'll be just 19 cars getting swapped around back to front, and we'll be right back in just a few moments on Pit Stop TV. Welcome back for race number 2. We're at the virtual Donington Park this afternoon, and JP, it was a wild race 1. Andy McEwen taking top honors, and James Holman in the last couple of corners making a big move in the Melbourne hairpin on Nathan Davies. A whole lot just went on. We saw that big crash in lap number 1, through turn 1 and really turn number 2 into the Craner curves. How do you picture things changing in race 2? Do you expect more of the same?
Yes, I do think so. Obviously, a couple of drivers got lucky due to that lap 1 collision. Obviously, the leaders won't have to start all the way back, only, well, in 19th place, still a long way, but I think we should expect, Andrew, a bit more aggression from the drivers, especially the top 5, you can say, from race number 1 to make their way back. It's definitely going to be a big challenge, but, you know, it's definitely possible.
So we'll see how things differ here in just a few moments as we get ready for this second race on the day. A big thank you goes out to everybody watching this afternoon, this evening, this morning, potentially wherever you're watching from. We certainly do appreciate you tuning in on Pit Stop TV as we get ready to go for race number 2. Let's take a look then once more, JP, at the points coming into today. So this is ahead of race 1. This is not updated after race 1. This is how things shook out after Silverstone last week. James Holman, Chris Knox far and away taking that lead. Really, Holman far and away taking that lead. Knox a little ways behind, and McEwen was very close, tied with Lee Holmes, and it was night and day difference in race number 1 for McEwen and Holmes. McEwen took the win. Holmes was involved in that lap 1 incident and finished 6 laps down.
Yeah, completely different. That's really going to take a toll on the championship. Just as we say that, look at who went fastest. Lee Holmes. Well, well, he definitely won, so unfortunately just beaten by Joe Winter, but yeah, just a complete contrast between, you know, 3rd and 4th place in the championship as we came before race number 1. We're just gonna have to wait and see, Andrew, how the remainder 3 races go. But I should expect Lee, you know, to bounce back stronger. You know, we know how fast he can be. We know how fast he is. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him, you know, by race number 3 or 4 up in the standings.
Everybody checking in, getting some times on the board. In fact, 13 drivers have checked in with a lap time in this warm-up session. Let's take a look once again at the track map here at Donington Park. We've talked about this already, and I think I've asked you already, but what stands out to you? I know you like the Craner curves, but I guess what stands out to you other than the Craner curves as a big separator on this racetrack?
I think the S's. I think you can really gain or lose a lot of time on the S's depending on your confidence. Obviously, the tiniest of margins are going to define, a few tenths of a second or a slowdown penalty. So it's really a tricky corner to get it perfectly right lap after lap, especially if you're following someone due to that lack of visibility. But it's just so important to get a good run. We saw in the last lap, Andrew, a driver going up to the podiums after getting a good run out of the S's.
Yeah, Holman with that big move, well, through the S's, and really it was the mistake that Nathan Davies made that set all of that up. So I think as long as you pressure somebody into those corners, you can force them into that mistake and grab the position that way. You can see we've gotten a whole lot more sun now. The clouds moved out very, very quickly. Crazy how that works here in Britain. And look at that. The track temperature up to 94 degrees Fahrenheit. You can extrapolate from there and get your temperature there in Celsius, but that is rather warm. Especially when the air temperature is only 65 degrees, and that's a big difference, though. We've got 31 cars once again ready to go for race number 2. Sir Alan Toon and all of this has been flipped all the way to the back end of the grid, and Holman. I think something's wrong with the invert. Holman is listed on pole. Yes, I think something is definitely wrong with the invert. Holman now on pole, Tom Mayle second, Mick Anderson third, Lee Holmes fourth, Neil Ferrier in fifth. Andy McEwen, who just won, is starting from sixth. So we'll see if this start stands. I would imagine it'll be left to stand as we get ready to go racing for race number 2. A couple of things a little bit different, but hey, we can go racing anyways. So James Holman then on pole, Tom Mayle second, couple of pro drivers, and off and away. Race number 2 is underway at Donington. Down the Craner curves for the first time in this second race. The sun is out. You can actually see where you're going here. And we've had a couple of incidents further back. Mark Oliver turned around. Shane Piggott slow as well. Oh, and somebody, I think that was Scott Smith, out into the barriers.
That was a big car. Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like this Honda Civic is done. Might be done for the day. And yes, I think the 502 is out. As you can see, the number 5 really getting loose just on the approach to turn number 7 and letting his teammate by. But up in the front is no change. But look at this. Look at this battle, Andrew. I couldn't find really another word for it. Look at how close the mid-pack is.
The gaggle of cars there. Lap number 1 headed through McLean's and Compass. Now down the Starkey Straight. And a pass here. Stephen Daly on Andy McEwen. Side by side, they'll go down to the S's. Daly's going to have that spot over McEwen. So what Daly couldn't get done in race 1, he gets done on lap number 1 rather, in race number 2. And now Carl Hardy with an advance here on Andy McEwen. Looks right, looks left, now round the outside, and I think he's going to have that position potentially. No, sweeps way out wide. Sam Smith sneaks on through. Now Nathan Davies is there in 10th spot, looking for a position. Up front, James Holman over Mick Anderson, who splits up those couple of RD Simsport teammates. Lap 1 complete, goes the way of Holman.
That Audi leading, he's definitely going to be wanting to hold this lead for as long as humanly possible. As you can see, our top 3 right now, Andrew, full of pro drivers. Seems a bit odd, but you can see until 20th place after
a sea of blue.
A sea of blue. Duncan Cope splitting the splitting the sea of blue with that number yellow. But as you can see, even further battles down here into turn number 1, or out of turn number 1, should I say. Looks like we're going to go side by side down the hill.
Duncan Cope alongside James Neve. That's what we're watching here at turn 4. Neve on the inside takes that spot away. Going to bring Craig Schill to the inside of Duncan Cope. Very close there. A former amateur driver with a big, crazy move, honestly, on one of his former amateur rivals. And now Duncan Cope on his back foot, defending over Scott Malcolm. The work guard machine up the inside. Malcolm is there at McLean's. Sam Smith loses the spot to Michael Seal ahead.
Looks like Martin got past Duncan Cope as well. He's losing positions. He's losing quite a few positions. So unfortunately for him, as Shane Piggott looks like just heading off.
That is Andrew Littler.
Oh.
R999. As, Craig Schills now is out in the dirt.
Oh, no. Just on the exit of 8 as well. So he just got past Duncan Cope and unfortunately lost all those places once again. So not what he wanted. As you can see, even more battles up here.
Seal just lost some spots now up the inside, trying to get back to the back end of Rob Sutherland. Now, Sutherland, I thought, was a pro last season when he came into the league. Here we go, 3 wide, Cope and others. Shirley in all of this. Farrier as well, just got by a bunch of them and moves over into Shirley. This is 3 wide to Goddard's, and nobody wants to give room. Cope, a little bit of contact there to Shirley. Shoulders his way on through, and they just passed Rob Jackson as well, one of the other Exemplia drivers. Oh my goodness, what a back end to lap number 2. There's action literally everywhere.
Yeah, a lot of action. I'm absolutely loving this. Drivers are, well, going for it, which is really, really fun to see. Duncan Cope, unfortunately, losing a few extra positions as we cut up front to the number 66. But yeah, Andrew Anderson still chasing down Holman, trying to get that lead. But looks like Holman has a bit of that measure, 0.4 of a second ahead of second place. That gap is stationary, though. The top 4 really close together.
Watching these guys continue on. This is over Coppice now, and boy, that was you know what? Let's let the excitement behind calm down for a moment. Let's go on board with Lee Holmes, Pro-Am leader. Remember, he just had a terrible start to the day. Race number 1 went completely the wrong way, finished 6 laps down. Now he's 4th place, challenging the top 3 pro drivers of Holman, Anderson, and Mayle. And honestly, I can't even rule out Lee Holmes winning this race. And he's in an amateur number, but he's listed in Pro-Am in the classes.
Yeah, I don't rule out it would be the complete contrast of his race number 1 will definitely be interesting. As you can see, Tom Mayle locking up a little bit. He's definitely not out of the equation, Andrew. I don't think. He's very close. He's only 1.5 seconds behind the leader. So as soon as those guys ahead start battling, he could definitely be within a shot to, capitalize on any sort of mistakes. So far, seems a bit unlikely. It looks like everybody ahead of him, at least there's 3 drivers ahead of him, looks like they're a bit composed. Holman still setting the fast lap of the race as Anderson ran out. Looks like just pipped him. But yeah, it looks like everybody's just very close, but not close enough to make a move.
Still on board here with Lee Holmes. And again, I love these onboards, just seeing how these guys attack these tracks. Holmes wide there to get the turn in for turn 3, now to turn 4. And I would stay on board with this, except Mick Anderson is starting to get very close here for the race lead, and we could have a nice little battle side by side very, very soon as the race anywhere 66 closes in on the RD Simsport number 4.
Up the hill they go, down up into turn 8. Keep saying down to turn 8, Andrew, force of a habit, but they're clearly going uphill under braking. The number 66 once again chasing down that Audi, and this is what Holman has going for him, Andrew. Driving that Audi, he's just going to have more power. We saw this Audi being very, very strong in all of the straightaways. So as long as he can keep getting good enough exits and maybe creating a little bit of a buffer between him and Anderson, he might just be safe coming into the S's. As you can see, even further battles.
Whoa.
Oh, almost contact between these two.
That was Nathan Davies with the big move. Here we go, McEwen and Daly, I think, side by side. Yes, they are side by side down to the hairpin. Oh my goodness, that was Winter with the big move at the inside. McEwen crosses him back up. And that's why you've got to be careful, because when you make that big lunge and the driver just goes right back by you on the inside, you look and feel like a bit of a fool here. So Winter wants to not have that one happen again, maybe be a little more reserved on his lunge to the inside. That always makes you feel silly when you go up the inside of somebody and then you go so wide that they just drive right back by you.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess everybody just stays with that, poker face, you can call it. Just looking at the driver going past you and like, oh no. But yeah, unfortunately for Winter, he just allowed McEwen to go past him as we go even further back. This is Carl Hardy and Sam Smith, isn't it? Just going down a hill. Looks like side by side. We might see a change of position right here.
Oh, that was aggressive from Sam Smith to look to the inside there. And Hardy comes back over, and Smith is going to go into a slide, saves it, gets back on power. Is he going to be able to get back onto the course without getting hit? Yes. Nobody hits him there. Oh, but here comes Ian Manners.
Yeah, he's going to get passed by quite a lot of cars. He definitely doesn't have the momentum, as you can see, even losing even more spots to that RD Simsport Audi, but looks like he's managing to hold off around the outside as he heads up into turn number 8, but an extremely good save for him. Quite an aggressive close of the door from Hardy, but looks like they didn't make contact, but that was close.
Yeah, I'm surprised Hardy came back over like that. It definitely, at that point, had acknowledged that Smith was alongside and just said, you know what, I'm going to come over anyways. And, well, all is fair sometimes. We'll see Obviously, what Smith thinks of that later on. Sutherland with maybe a pass here from Neve on the back end. Neve now looks left, so Sutherland going to take the right side of the racetrack, and it looks like they're squatting the rear end of that Audi, actually. The RD SimSport guys have gotten the rear end of that car rather low. I just noticed that on the approach to Melbourne. So I wonder what they're doing with the setups here to try and get these cars to handle nice. It really looks like the nose of that car is in the air and the rear is on the ground. That's lap 6 complete. Again, we're expecting now 10 laps in these races. Lap 1, or race 1, looked like it was only going to go for 9. Then the pace picked up, and since then, we're definitely expecting a 10-lap race here in race number 2. Let's go on board with Tom Mayle chasing Mick Anderson. So Tom Mayle, one of the newer RD SimSport drivers. Mick Anderson, brand new to this field. And the three of them up here, RD SimSport's James Holman and Tom Mayle, as well as Race Anywhere's Mick Anderson. These guys all brand new to the series, and they're controlling the top of the field, top 3.
Yeah, absolutely. They're doing fantastic racing. Looks like for the time being, Holman was able to pull out a big gap. As you can see, Tom Mayle going a little bit wide, a little bit, I guess, stronger, you can say, on the entry, but costing himself on the exit. Looks like Lee Holmes is blinking a little bit. He's going to look down the inside of Anderson, down into the S's. He's going to get that position. So the number 66, not battling too hard, but oh, that might be... Yes, it is a slowdown. So, yeah, just as we mentioned, Andrew, if you go a bit too quickly, you're going to get a few tenths of a second, but you're going to losing a lot of time. So, Tom, after finding himself in second place, he drops all the way down to 4th. It looks like we have even further battles back here. It looks like, oh, they're not done. Tom Mayle and Lee Holmes going side by side.
Lee Holmes had a spot for a moment on Anderson, and oh, contact, and Mayle bullies Holmes out of the way. Says, nope, you're back to 4th place. I'm going to go up here and battle with Anderson some more. So everything that just happened that lap, it's all been negated by everything that just happened in Goddard's. Really wild stuff. I do want to get a replay of that, actually, as that was big-time contact there for 3rd.
Yeah, that was, as you mentioned, big-time contact. That was interesting up into the final corner. So we're just going to take a better look to see essentially what happened. Obviously, Tom Mayle looks like he got a good enough run. Did Lee Holmes kind of misshift a little bit? Just got it. Looks like not a great exit. And, oh, looks like he's going to... Well, Tom is just going to come from way further back. Definitely not enough room, I'd say.
No.
Yeah, but Lee Holmes, unfortunately, luckily for him, Andrew, a lot of damage and pointing in the right direction. But he was fighting for 2nd place.
And now he's in 3rd, or 4th, rather, with likely very little chance at getting any higher than that. And with Andy McEwen closing, these two could be battling side by side very soon. Stephen Daly as well is going to hold McEwen very honest and really force him to push the back end of this race. Here we go, Carl Hardy, Michael Seal, they're close. They're actually side by side. Hardy going for the position up the inside of the S's potentially. Is he going to have it? Side by side, contact there in the S's. Seal goes off in the dirt, gets back on, but that's going to be a slowdown, isn't it?
Yes, definitely. You can see flashing the headlights, braking a little bit. So Michael Seal definitely not happy with what just happened. Yeah, but unfortunately for him, and just going side by side, sometimes that's going to happen. A bit of contact, and he was forced to yield that position and slow down even more. But he didn't lose a lot of time with the slowdown, Andrew. Only, what, half a second behind Carl Hardy?
He may not have actually got himself a slowdown. He might have been just safe enough there that he was able to avoid it as McEwen goes purple, and he is on Lee Holmes. McEwen has got things figured out today. I know he doesn't think of himself as much of a touring car driver, but he has got this figured out. And with Holmes blinking, if you're McEwen, do you play it safe or do you play it aggressive and say, oh, it's just connection?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question, because at the same moment, it could be, an easy
He's
move
got
due to
Daly
connection.
close. I think he's got to go.
Yeah, if he just waits too much, if he backs off, Daly's definitely not going to wait. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. And this is also the battle we saw in race number 1, isn't it, Andrew?
Yep.
So Daly still trying to find a way past McEwen. He wasn't able to do it on race number 1. He's definitely closer, though, this time around.
And Daly got that spot lap 1, if you recall. What he couldn't do in race 1, he did in race 2, but then lost a spot later on, and McEwen has certainly turned things up. If you're Lee Holmes, you've got to get this figured out. This is really, really bad. To have these kinds of blinks racing for the win in your class, this is not okay.
Yeah, absolutely not. That's not only dangerous, obviously, for McEwen, but also very distracting. You're sometimes focused on the car ahead, and that blinking, the car disappearing and appearing in front of you is definitely going to distract you a little bit, especially if it's fast blinking like that. So McEwen needs to be 130% focused to make sure it not only gets close to Lee Holmes, but also doesn't allow Daly to close in too much to the point where, you know, a move might be made.
Daly gets really close there in Goddard's. We should get 2 laps to go this time by, and we do get exactly that. 2 laps remaining here in race number 2. Holman with a 2-second lead. McAnderson and Tom Mayle starting to get close. Lee Holmes isn't far back, so these 5 cars all in a line beginning with Anderson and extending down through Daly, who we're on board with.
Yeah, Daly's the last driver in this line. Behind him only Nathan Davies, but he's 1.4 seconds behind, so this essentially could be a battle for second place as we cut to Duncan Cope still leading the amateur class. Unfortunately dropped to 19th place, Andrew. In second place we have Fiona Siddons, but unfortunately she is a few seconds back down in the road. You can see just approaching the mid part of turn number 1. Could we see a switch for the lead? It's definitely a possibility, but I think it's very unlikely.
It's going to take some kind of intervention here, I think, for Duncan Cope. He's got a really solid lead, and with a lap and a half to go for these guys, I don't really see anything changing without some kind of big incident for these guys. But let's go back up towards the front of Pro-Am. And McEwen going to go... Oh, did he just get a slowdown? You're kidding me. A slowdown from McEwen with 2 laps to go, it looks like. Whether it was a slowdown or not, they were close again there. If you're Andy, you've got to stay off the track limits right here. Just keep your race together. He's already had to let Daly go on by, so now flip those 2 around. Daly now with a chance to get after Lee Holmes, and look at the cars closing from behind. Nathan Davies and Joe Winter. This race is about to get very, very spicy in potentially the best, potentially the worst of ways for some of these drivers. We'll see how it goes down as we take the white flag presented by Whiplash Simcams.
One final lap, you can see Holman way ahead, 3.1 seconds ahead of Anderson in second place, Mayle and Holmes Daly. This is all very close. You can see essentially 2 cars battling for second, and then we have a 3-car train for 4th place. This is going to get very interesting, Andrew. I cannot wait to see what's going to happen in the upcoming miles.
Stephen Daly right on the back end of Lee Holmes now. He's maybe 2 or 3 car lengths behind into the old hairpin. Can he get any closer? And it's an Elantra on a Civic. Gets a little bit closer on corner exit. And again, I think if you're Stephen Daly, you've just got to force the issue here with Lee Holmes. If something happens as a result of connection to him, well, you got to say, oh well, but you've got to try and keep your race going. You've got to try and go for this race win.
Absolutely. He's definitely going to go for it. Now we're just going to have to see...
wide. No, that was Davies, actually.
Oh, that was Davies going a bit wide. He's going to be losing a bit of contact to McEwen, and up ahead, it's very close for 4th place. As you mentioned, battle as well for the Pro-Am lead. So,
there we go.
Yep, the move's being made, and you can see just that blinking, distracting, not allowing Daly to essentially line up a move. So Lee Holmes might, well, his bad luck in connection might just save him from getting overtaken.
Yeah, Daly looking annoyed there with the connection. Now he's going to make a lunge in Melbourne, and he gets there in contact. Holmes out wide, and Stephen Daly comes up through. McEwen takes a look. It's still side by side. If you're McEwen, you're not out of this yet. You're right on the back end of them both. Down to Goddard's. Lee Holmes on the inside. Stephen Daly around the outside. McEwen's going to take the bottom side to try and get to Lee Holmes. Can he make contact and get there? No. Holman will win in Pro and overall. It's Anderson second, then Mayle, and Lee Holmes hangs on for that win in Pro-Am with McEwen second. Davies came on through to 3rd, and Daly dropped down to 4th position in Pro-Am, 7th overall. Joe Winter came on through 8th, Michael Steele 9th, and Carl Hardy rounds out your top 10. What a finish there amongst the top runners.
What an insane final corner, Andrew, that was. Absolutely great. You can see Duncan Cope finishing 19th place, celebrating over the line as he wins the amateur classes. You can see, oh, a bit of contact behind Andrew on the final corner.
That's Fiona Siddons, Dale Bennison, Robin Walters, and some others. And they're going to come down to the line. It looks like Bennison 937 just behind Walters in 563. Fiona Siddons slow. Rob Jackson into the pit lane. So in all of that, Mark Oliver finishes 22nd, Robin Walters finishes 23rd, Bennison 24th, Siddons 25th, Jackson will finish 26th, and Andrew Littler still has to finish his race. Alan Toon as well still has to finish. This is all the way down to 28th position, 28 cars in the lead lap. If there was ever a time to get a full invert, it's now.
Absolutely. This would be absolutely insane if it was a full invert. Only time will tell, Andrew. I'm going to tell you, my bet's not going to be a full invert. I don't think it will be this time, but if it was, I wouldn't complain either.
Position 27, then, it seems, to Sir Alan Toon as Jackson goes to the back of the field. And Stephen Daly was just adjusted with a post-race penalty to 21st position. So incidents there at the end for Stephen Daly. He will drop all the way outside of the top 20 from racing for a win to, well, not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15th in class. 15th in Pro-Am. That's insane.
Absolutely insane. Now we head to, well, an interesting part as well of the BSR. It's going to be the invert. Ooh, that's going to be close.
Oh, stop. 13 it'll be.
Unlucky 13 for some.
So 13 cars will be inverted. That will put Rob Sutherland on pole here in a moment. Neil Ferrier will start from second. Ian Manners third. Let's go ahead and go back into the sim and get a look then at the entire rundown.
So James Holman is going to win the race. First place for the car number 4. 3.3 seconds ahead of Mick Anderson in second. Tom Mayo in third. Lee Holmes is going to manage to win the Pro-Am class, holding off Andy McEwen for fourth place. McEwen in fifth. Nathan Davies passed in sixth place. Joe Winter in seventh. Michael Sealing, Nathan Andrew. And I wonder if Daly got a penalty. He's not in the top 10. Eighth place for Michael Sealing. Carl Hart. Oh yeah, sorry, just zoned out for a little bit. Carl Hardy in 9th place and James Neave for 10th.
Finishing 11th, you will find car number 501, Ian Manners. He'll now start from 3rd. Neil Ferrier there in 12th will now start from 2nd. And Sutherland will inherit the pole after finishing 13th. Martin Shirley there in 14th. Scott Malcolm 15th. Roger Morton 16th. Craig Schill in 17th spot, just ahead of Duncan Cope, who wins an amateur. Daniel Martin there in 19th. And Martin Johnson in the 20th position in car 505.
21st place goes the way of Stephen Daly, Mark Oliver in 22nd, Robin Walters in 33rd, Dale Bennison in 24th, Fiona Siddons, unfortunately 25th for her, Andrew Littler in 26th, Sir Alan Toon 27th, the last driver to finish on the lead lap, Rob Jackson 28th, 1 lap down, Sam Smith 29th, 2 laps down, Shane Piggott in 30th place, unfortunately for him, 9 laps down.
And just one of the car left, that was Scott Smith, 10 laps down in the 31st position. Really hectic day of racing already. Chaotic, certainly is one way to put it. We've already got a driver standing by, JP. It is Fiona Siddons, who ends up in a big last lap melee in the back.
So Fiona, coming into the final lap of the race, or the final few laps of the race, you were in 2nd place on your class, 20th place overall. What happened on those final few laps?
Going into the Melbourne airpin on the last lap, I run out of fuel. Used too much fuel through the race and run out going into the Melbourne loop.
Oh, that is so unfortunate. I think that might be a first in the BSRs of a driver running out of fuel on the race. So really unfortunate. But how was the first and second race? Obviously, the first race, I guess it ended quite quickly. But how was the second one?
That second one, I was really enjoying it. I was battling with people in higher classes. Like I say, I was in 20th when we started the last lap. Went into the Melbourne airpin in 20th. And then lost 5 places on the run to the line with no fuel.
That is so unfortunate. Obviously, now not going to be, well, going to start on 25th place for race number 3. What should we expect from you?
Hopefully I can move forward a bit. And I've added a bit more fuel in this time, so I should not run out this time.
Absolutely. We're definitely going to keep an eye out on you, Fiona, for race number 3. Hopefully we can talk to you then. If not, race number 4, well, hopefully it is one of your race's victories. But until then, well, have a good one.
Yeah, thank you.
So, Andrew, unfortunately for Fiona, running out of fuel, and I don't remember if that has happened before in the BSR championship, but you can see here just running out, essentially getting a little bit of a push as well. But yeah, really heartbreaking to happen, well, on the second to last corner, but luckily I think she managed to cross the line. So really, I guess a good result at the end of the day.
It definitely explains how things got so bunched up there at the end. We'll go ahead and take a step aside, get ready for race number 2. It is on, or sorry, race number 3. It is on the way very quickly, and we certainly hope you'll stick around for it. 2 more races to go, coming up in just a few. Welcome back to the virtual Donington Park. 2 races down, 2 races to go in JP. It's been a very, very fun getting going here today, but we've still got a lot of racing. A half hour of racing time, and that's still 20 laps of racing itself. Do you have any takeaways so far? Do you have any expectations for these next 2 races? I mean, what's going through your head as we get ready for another one?
I'm just ready for, twice more what we just saw. Plenty of moves happening, plenty of drivers, making comeback races. It's just been so exciting as well with the TCRs, and that's something, we're kind of used to. We take, I guess, for granted at sometimes, but, still 2 races to go, as you mentioned, 20 laps of racing still to go. Well, I'm ready to get it underway.
And the invert this time working properly. Rob Sutherland will start from pole position. Neil Ferrier there in second, and Ian Manners third. It's James Neve fourth, Carl Hardy fifth, Michael Seal sixth, Joe Winter seventh, Nathan Davies, Andy McEwen, and Lee Holmes will round out your top 10 starters. A whole lot of pro-ams in this season as a whole. In fact, if you were to look at the sign-up sheet, it's a sea of blue. 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got another, let's see, that's 9, so that's 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 pro-ams on the sign-up sheet alone, and I think just about all of them are here this evening. A much smaller amateur field, a much smaller pro field, and it has really changed up the way things look this season. Waiting on the green light, let's go ahead and take a quick look at the weather conditions. Look at that. Right back to a much more modest track temperature, 66 degrees Fahrenheit, but the winds 14 miles an hour and sustained. It's going to be fun for race number 3, waiting on the green lights and the green flag from Barney the Flagman, and the green flag is out. We're racing at Donington. Ferrier leads to and through the first corner. Sutherland second. Manners battling there with Hardy for third.
You can see drivers going down the hill corner curves, and it looks like it's all clean once again, Andrew. So the fluke from race number 1, but we're going 3 wide at some stage. Oh,
Manners around.
Just as I mentioned that we have a car spun around on the exit of turn number 4. A lot of damage, and I think that car is going to have to be parked, Andrew. That back right suspension is definitely toasted.
More contact further ahead. Oh, one car way out in the grass, figuring things out. A really big melee in here. Look at this, 3 wide. That was Mail squeezing through the middle of Malcolm and Neve, it looks like. Oh my goodness, what a start again. These guys just do not ever calm down. And there's 3 wide there. Roger Morton, and that was Martin Johnson 3 wide. Johnson around the outside of Morton. He goes down to the S's. Morton turns him.
But he saves it.
What? If anything, that would have helped him. Martin Johnson drives away from all of that, and look at the gaggle that sparks up behind him. And the leaders are still having their fun. They're to and through the Melbourne hairpin. Look at everybody else into this corner.
That was insane.
Jonas Siddons down to the bottom.
I'm loving this. Jonas Siddons trying to make a few positions. That's the point where she ran out of fuel last race. You can see a few drivers looks like still navigating the slowdown penalties, a bit of contact back there. But wow, what a first lap we just had.
Lap 1 goes the way of Ferrier. Sutherland second. Then it's Carl Hardy in that 3rd spot. He had that contact, I think, a lap or so ago. Michael Seal is right on his coattails, and Joe Winter is through to 5th.
Insane start from these guys. Wow, I mean, I'm still speechless about that save, that contact down into the S's. I'm still blown away. And you can see this battle is still gonna Ray John Seal trying to close to Carl Hardy, who's really close to Sutherland as well. As he cut back here, looks like that was Lee Holmes mowing some grass. So drivers really attacking early on in the race, Andrew.
Daniel Martin on the back end of Tom Mail. This is for the 9th position. And these are teammates as well. Daniel Martin for RD Simsport is in the 10th spot. James Neve has just come to a stop.
Oh no, straight back to the pit lane as well.
Let's see if we can go back first and find the incident for Ian Manners off the start of this race. Go back a little further. Let's go to about here. And this should show us what goes on down the Craner curve. So he is side by side for a moment with Hardy and then gets in front of a couple of cars. Is that Seal that turns him? Seal gets at the inside. Yeah, Seal just absolutely hit him.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, that's going to cost him his race number 3. Is he trying to slow down, Andrew? But, you know, unfortunately, the gravel not slowing him down enough to avoid, and even more contact we had here.
Duncan
And I
Cope.
think, oh, wow, and really good avoiding driver by, avoiding drives by a few of these, but unfortunately, Duncan looks like he was the one that started it, wasn't it?
It's really hard to say from the Duncan Cope incident. Don't want to put blame on anybody without seeing the full thing, but here's a look at a battle with Nathan Davies on Mick Anderson. This is for the 11th spot. And if we go further ahead, Michael Seal starting to square up Carl Hardy. This would be for 3rd on the racetrack and 3rd in Pro-Am. Seal with a look into 4th, sits back of Hardy for now. And he might have learned from lap 1.
Yeah, look at this run here.
Might have.
Oh, just holding the racing line, and that was enough to avoid Michael Seal getting through. But Michael on the outside is going to try to make that line work. He goes deep on their braking, and he makes that work beautifully. Not a single chance for Hardy to fight back. Wow.
Steele is being aggressive today. I like it. I'm here for it. Car 557 certainly on the offensive this afternoon. Gets that spot from Carl Hardy. And now Hardy with some trouble here from Holman. Holman, the top pro driver so far today. Joe Winter there a couple of spots back. But Holman's going to take that spot away from Hardy nice and easily. The Audi over the Honda. And now Winter in the 2nd spot in pro, but he is 7th overall. This is a really weird position for a lot of these pro guys to be in, battling with these Pro-Ams. Oh my goodness, look at this just ahead.
This is insane. You can see 2 drivers going side by side. This is really going to slow them down, allowing a few of these extra drivers like Winter to get, you know, closer to them. We may even see a little bit of contact. No, everybody goes really quite safely. Hardy actually being really safe, Andrew, to the point where Mike Cossum as Ferrier sets the fast lap of the race, and wow, he's 5.1 seconds ahead of Seal.
Yeah, taking off is Neil Ferrier. Big lead. It's only been 5 minutes. He's put a minute a second on these drivers behind. That is incredible. And you mentioned Seal on through to 2nd. Sutherland moving backwards very quickly. He's into 4th now as Holman takes a move on him through the Craner curves. And Sutherland now has a mirror full of Andy McEwen down to turn 4. Sutherland, I think, was gifted that 2nd spot and definitely does not have the pace right now.
Yeah, looks like he's struggling a little bit. You can see his teammate just driving on by, and unfortunately he's going to have to go defensive up into turn number 7. And unfortunately, McEwen looks like, it does not elect to go the full way. Oh, contact between McEwen and Hardy. Winter's going to get past Carl Hardy, but he's going to have to essentially check up a little bit due to McEwen. And Hardy finds himself a little bit back, and Winter goes, rallycross racing looks like. Can he save it? Yes, he can, but look at the amount of time he's losing.
He drops all the way down to 9th with Johnson closing for 10th. And look at this. Nathan Davies just went in the grass to get a position here on Scott Malcolm. They'll go down to the S's, and Davies up the inside almost hits Johnson. Oh man, that was crazy. And look at this. Battles up ahead. This is down to the Melbourne hairpin. Side by side, almost 3 wide. McEwen around the outside. Holmes up the inside. And in all of this, you're right. Sutherland is stopped, I think. He's way back here. Finally gets back rolling.
Yeah, Sutherland was on the grass under braking, so maybe pushed off a little bit. But wow, amazing battles throughout the field. This is absolutely insane. And Hardy comes on top of everybody. He retakes 4th place.
McEwen and Holmes swapping spots here to Redgate. Holmes up the inside. McEwen's going to try and get back over to the right side of him into the Craner curves, and he has gotten there. Has car 504. Question is, will he be left room? And yes, he's got room there as they work down through turns 2, 3, and 4. Holmes makes contact through 3 to the old hairpin, though. McEwen has got that spot.
Got that spot, at least on exit. Looks like Lee Holmes might not be close enough to make a move in turn number 8. But wow, while racing these guys are providing us, Andrew, I'm absolutely loving it. We're just barely halfway through the race, so we still can do this twice more. It will be absolutely insane. Well, I can do this once more, actually. Quick math right there. As you can see, even more battles up into turn number 8. Looks like, I'm not quite sure who this is. This is just outside the top 10, isn't it?
This is inside the top 10. Anderson just took a spot over Johnson. That's what we're watching here. Johnson, that white car, with now Davies just behind, and that orange Elantra as he switches over. Just the moves that Davies makes always surprise me. As Daniel Martin has had a problem just ahead. You can see Martin off in the dirt to the left side of the course. Does he have damage? It looks like it, but it's tough to say. He might have been able to escape without too much issue, but he does drop down to the 14th position with Scott Smith closing. Back up to the Distinction Motorsport 505, though. Martin Johnson inside this top 10. He just lost that spot actually to Davies, but he gets ahead of Scott Malcolm, and well, they stay behind Mick Anderson for 8th.
Yeah, Davies doing a really good job. Just got 2 positions to move himself to 9th place. You can see just a bit further behind as well. But yeah, fantastic race so far. Daly trying to find his way back, trying to get some good positions, maybe to end up the race in the top 10. He's definitely going to try that. Down into turn 1, closes the door. Again, hits door closed, I guess you can say. But on exit, just hits a bit of that curb injury, and that was enough to kill his momentum.
Down the Craner curves they'll go on board with Stephen Daly. He's had a couple of race-winning battles here in Pro-Am, but this one, it's going to be a little ways down the order as he follows Sutherland, who started well up in the field and has certainly slid back from there into 12th now. So this is the battle for the 12th spot. Scott Smith, Tom Male, they're side by side behind.
You can see this battle right here, really good to see as well. Down into up into turn number 7. I keep saying down for some reason, but well, it looks like they're gonna stick in position for the time being, and you'll follow just a single file racing. Just, taking their time, just biting a little bit. As you can see up in front though, well, they're definitely going side by side.
Yeah, Daly just got alongside Sutherland for the moment, but loses some time around the outside of Coppice. Now he's to the inside for the first apex of the S's. Gets there, takes the spot away. Good move there from Stephen Daly as he now moves into the 12th position, just behind Martin Johnson, who was battling there with Malcolm for a moment. Now Malcolm driving away, and here's a battle for your amateur win. Fiona Siddons just made a big move on Duncan Cope.
Yeah, big move. Just got those positions, and well, looks like she might be driving away as Duncan Cope has to defend it this one. Oh, a big lunge and contact. No, but that was way over optimistic. Looks like Fiona Siddons might get the positions. Duncan Cope, I'm not quite sure if he just misshifted a little bit or allowed Fiona to get back on by, but wow, that was 1.5 moves.
Now he gets the back end of Craig Schill, bumps him there. Craig Schill will go side by side with Fiona Siddons. This is good for Duncan Cope, actually. Let those two go side by side to Red Gate. Schill now going to look up the inside of 927. Does he get there on Fiona? Yes, he does. Duncan stays back, though. Now going to close in. Is he going to take the route to the right side? No, does not take that opening.
Yeah, not close enough this time by trying to maybe line up down into turn number 4. Not quite close enough, at least on the time being. So, unfortunately for Duncan, he's just going to have to wait a little bit. They're just outside of the top 20, but look at this accident injury. This might be his chance.
Still being very conservative. Duncan is one of those guys that I don't think wants to race too hard, and certainly after that mistake into the Melbourne hairpin doesn't want to rough Fiona up any more than he already has. That was a very aggressive move and mistake, really, from Duncan Cope. He recognized that, gave the lead back, and doesn't want to do anything the wrong way.
Absolutely not. If he wants to make a move, I'm pretty sure he wants to do it cleanly. Obviously, that was a mistake, so he gets another chance right here, trying to use a little bit of that German horsepower to close in the gap. Looks like he got a slowdown, though. Just as I mentioned, that he's dropping quite a bit further behind Fiona, which is really unfortunate. He's going to be denied, at least on this lap, a chance to overtake maybe down into the Melbourne. So, unfortunately, it looks like the battle for first place in the amateur class has taken a little bit of distance.
Back up front, this is Holman and Seal, second and third on the racetrack. And they're starting to eat into that gap of Farrier ever so slightly, but they haven't quite gotten there, certainly. They're still a good little ways back, 3 seconds about. And McEwen and Holmes, they do some battle now working up the Craner curves.
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting to see. Down in turn 4, not close enough, but maybe on the exit, we might see a move happening. McEwen trying to line up once again, but Lee Holmes just getting a little bit of a better exit. Looks like he's going to have to go defensive. Will McEwen maybe challenge down the outside? No, he won't. So he's going to be sticking with that 6th position for the time being, trying to maybe get a good enough exit on out of turn number 8. Very close to Lee Holmes. Just going to have to wait and see if it's going to be enough down here.
Farrier's already working on his 3rd win of the season, but he is well further down the order in the standings. In fact, he is 6th currently in the point standings. And, yeah, well behind anybody else. In fact, almost 20 points behind his next competitor for position of Michael Seal. Even further back of Joe Winter, Lee Holmes, and Andy McEwen. So he's quite a ways back of where he needs to be in the standings. That said, he's working on his 3rd win, working on a big points gain here. So we'll see how that changes if they work by one of the result cars. If you're Lee Holmes and Andy McEwen, though, it looks like they are actually tied still in the point standings. McEwen a bit deep there. He needs to get this spot.
Yeah, he absolutely does. You can see Holman setting the fast lap of the race, trying to close that gap to first place, but McEwen still trying to find a way past Lee Holmes. Lee's proving to be a very difficult person to overtake, Andrew, which is, well, I mean, this is excellent for him, but unfortunately not going to be excellent for McEwen. As you can see, even further battles down here, just looks like just outside of the top 10, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, really good battles throughout the field. This is the number 564, just trying to make a few moves. Looks like he lost the move down, lost the position down into turn number 1. Tried to get it back on the exit of 2, but unfortunately couldn't really make it back. So that's Daly still in 12th place.
Yeah, Malcolm here is in 10th in that work guard 574 with Stephen Daly Daniel Martin and Stephen Daly just behind. Martin in 11th, Daly in 12th, just ahead of Tom Mayle in 13th. Oh, that was a crazy move there from Martin.
Yeah, that was really close. As you can see now, Daly making that move. Turn number 7 gets that position. Looks like Martin might lose a position for his teammate. No, Tom just decides to wait a little bit, maybe on the exit. Doesn't want to compromise his teammate as well, Andrew, too much, as they didn't go side by side. And well, looks like Daly is also closing up to Malcolm, so Daly really on a charge right here.
They'll work things out in the S's as Lee Holmes has trouble here from McEwen up to the inside, and they're just behind Carl Hardy. And there it is, a position now for McEwen. Can he clear him and get back in front of him by the corner? He tries to, and into Goddard's. Lee Holmes is still there. They're coming to the white flag this time, presented by Whiplash Simcams. Lap number 10 now underway for the front of the field. Farrier took that white flag. Holman second, still 2.5 seconds behind. Seal in third, Hardy in fourth, and this is the battle for fifth.
It's a really good battle to see. McEwen just got the edge. Hardy try to fight it back on the exit. You can see now, looks like Winter tried to put a move on Lee Holmes, but unfortunately couldn't get it close enough. Boy, this battle for position, Andrew, is definitely not finished. As you can see, coming down into turn number 4, we're gonna have to wait and see who's gonna get a better exit. Looks like Lee Holmes extremely close to McEwen. Is he close enough to challenge and force McEwen maybe into a mistake up into turn number 7? Not close enough, but he's definitely going to be closing that up on entry and hopefully on exit. Yes, he looks like he exited a bit closer, so McEwen still needs to keep his eyes open, still needs to keep himself very sharp towards the end of the race.
This is where the move would happen, is on this backstretch down to the S's and maybe into Melbourne as well. It's where a lot of these moves tend to happen. In fact, let's check in on Holman and Seal as they go down to the S's. Holman defending on the very inside. And, oh, they're already down to Melbourne, actually. They're well ahead, so here we go. Holman with that spot very comfortably. Seal is not going to force the issue, it looks like. McEwen and Holmes, though, here we go, side by side. Holmes are on the outside. Hardy's still ahead of both of these guys, and Joe Winter's going to come to the inside of Lee Holmes. So Holmes opened the door, Winter fills it, and up ahead, Farrier is going to exit the turn 12 and take a win here in race number 3.
Third race of the season for Farrier.
Oh,
so really
look at that! Contact with Winter and Holmes. They get it sorted out. Davies is going to come on through like a bull in a china shop, and he just almost gets ahead of Andy McEwen, but doesn't quite get that spot. Wow.
Wow. Once again, the final corner proving to be an excellent hunting ground for final chance to get a position. Really good racing. As you can see, the rest of the field, only 3 pro drivers in the top 10, Andrew. The rest, well, it's a sea of blue once again.
So that is the 3rd win for Farrier. The only multi-time winner so far in BSRTC. If he gets a 4th, that would even up with Jason Cooper, the only other driver to win 4 races so far this season in either series. And just like that, the entire lead lap has already finished the race, all the way down through Duncan Cope in the 24th spot. As far as the amateur win, that goes the way of Fiona Siddons with Dale Bennison in 2nd and Littler in 3rd. Duncan Cope came on through for 4th, and Sir Alan Toon will get credited with 5th, 1 lap down. Mark Oliver with 6th in that class. So only 6 amateur drivers here today. Let's go ahead and fire up the spinning wheel for the final time.
There goes the final time, Andrew. I'm going to put you on the spot. Place your bet.
Let's go 10. I see that 10. Is it going to come around? No, it's not going to come around. Well, I guess it's going to be 16.
Well, 60% higher than the number you chose, but well, 16 is still plenty of drivers to be inverted. It's definitely going to bring us an exciting final race.
And it's a number we haven't had yet, I do believe. Just across there from 15, you can see kind of how that wheel is structured. We tried to mix things around and spice things up here. And Might even have to change out 17 now, because we've got 17 a lot recently, so we'll have to change that out, see what we can get. But what's interesting about this is usually we would have 17, right? That's where it feels like it usually lands, JP. That would have included Roger Morton in the invert if it was 17. Now, with it being 16, Scott Smith will be your pole sitter. Let's go ahead and take a look at the full results.
So Neil Ferrier taking his third race win of the season is going to finish in first, obviously winning as well in the Pro-Am class. James Holman is going to win once again in the Pro class in his number 4 in second place. Michael Steele is going to finish off the overall podium in third. Carl Hardy in fourth place. Andrew McEwen in fifth. Nathan Davies made up a few spots on the final corner to finish sixth. Joe Winter in seventh place for only second place in the Pro class. That is insane to think about. Eighth place goes the way of Mick Anderson, his number 66. Lee Holmes in ninth place. And Stephen Daly in 10th place.
I feel like you could take the top 5 of Pro-Am, move them up to Pro, and you'd have a really good race on your hands. Let's go on down to 11th position. It's Scott Malcolm in that 11th spot in car 574, finishing 12th. You'll find Daniel Martin in all of those battles. 13th will go to Tom Mayle. 14th, Rob Sutherland. 15th, Martin Johnson. And 16th, which will now be pole, is Scott Smith. So Scott Smith will start on pole, Martin Johnson second, Rob Sutherland third, and so on and so forth. Roger Morton will start from 17th because he finished 17th, just ahead of Robin Walters, Rob Jackson, and Craig Schill.
21st place will go the ways of Fiona Siddons, ahead of Dale Benson in 22nd, Andrew Littler in 23rd place, Duncan Cope in 24th, Sir Alan Toon in 25th, one lap down, then James Neve in 26th, Ian Manners in 27th, Martin Shirley in 28th, and Mark Oliver Andrew in 29th place.
So 29 cars here in race number 3, and that's how they all break down. That means... Actually, what it means is we've got a race winner interview here, JP. Neil Ferrier ready to talk to us.
So Neil, third win of the season. How does it feel, buddy?
That's good. Yeah, that was a bit interesting. Obviously, the first 2 races, like I was saying to you earlier, after round 1 I got a penalty, so I had to miss qualifying, which put me well back. And then race 2 I had to start in the pit lane, so I was like, right, I'll aim for race 3 and 4. And then Stephen Daly, he was like, oh, you're starting second for the next race. I was like, oh, game on. And then I seen there was an Audi on the front row with me, and I was like, oh, this has got to be hard work. And I out-dragged them to the turn 1, so, and then just kind of controlled it for there.
Well, there you go. That's as cut and dried as you can get. But obviously now race number 4, you're going to be starting way further down in 16th place. What can we expect from you?
I'm kind of hoping the same as race 1, to be honest with you. For race 1 I was like, I was just trying to stay out of trouble, starting P29, and then I came round on the first lap and like P11, I was like, oh, game on. So that's the plan for race 3, get a good start and try and avoid the carnage into turn 1 if possible. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I did say I was here for fun, and this is certainly making it worthwhile.
Absolutely. And well, how fun is Donington with the TCRs? I assume it's plenty of fun, but I want to hear from not only a driver but as well as a race winner.
Donington, like most of the time I've raced Donington, it's been GT3. So to me, I had to learn how to drive the GP circuit again in a front wheel drive car. Yeah, the first sector and stuff is all the same, but you just have to learn how the front wheel drive car can handle. So yeah, that took some adjusting from the last time I was here, which was in a rear wheel drive car, to a front wheel drive car. But yeah, it's I'd done a bit of practice the other night there for once, and yeah, it seems to have worked.
Absolutely. With that being said, Neil, I'm going to let you focus for race number 4, and who knows, maybe after it we can talk to you again. Until then, well, have a good one and best of luck to the race.
Thanks, boys. This has got to be a good one.
Absolutely. Andrew, that was Neil Ferrier, third race win of the season for him. And I guess we can call him Neil Game On Ferrier because, well, he definitely goes for it.
That it doesn't quite ring, but I think we can work with it a little bit. We'll see maybe what he does here in race number 4 and see if we can come up with something pretty catchy. Neil Game On Ferrier. We'll work on that. That's definitely a work in process there for driver 591, but we've got race 4 on the way, which means, hey, one more chance to go grab a snack, grab something to drink, and be right back to us in just a few moments with more BSRTC coverage here on Pit Stop TV. Don't go anywhere. Let's to the kitchen. Like I said, grab a snack, grab a drink, be right back. Welcome back to Donington Park. It's the virtual scan thereof on the iRacing.com service. Pitstop TV here with BSRTC action one more time this Thursday, March 31st. 3 races in the books. Those race winners being, let's see, Andy McEwen in race 1, James Holman in race 2, and Neil Ferrier in race number 3. And JP, that means we've got to find a 4th race winner, and it's going to come with nighttime setting in here at the virtual Donington Park.
How can you not love this setting? I'm pretty sure the drivers are loving as well. I'm pretty sure by the end of the race, Andrew, we might see a few headlights. No, we already are seeing headlights, so fitting for the final race of the day as it usually is. And boy, I cannot wait. 16 drivers are inverted. This is bound to be fun.
Question is it nighttime or is it morning, like they pulled the fast one on us on Tuesday with a couple of sunrise races that we had where the lights actually turned off a little bit later in the day? We'll see exactly which way this goes. I like when it goes into nighttime. I like when it gets darker. So Michael Seal and Roger Morton, everybody else, if you're listening, that's what we like anyways, is when it gets dark here with these races. But warm-up underway and actually coming to a close. As you can see the timer running out on the top left of your screen. That means we're just moments away from racing. Another look here at the Donington Park track map. I think my favorite corner has to be a mix of either turn 4, Compass, and turn 8, or the Melbourne Hairpin. One of those 3, it just seems like are some of the most action-packed corners. I really do love Compass coming up over that hill and trying to get around that widening radius. Of course, the Melbourne Hairpin is a lot of fun, a lot of great passing opportunities, and turn 4 is just weird. It's really tough into that braking zone, dropping down onto it, compressing the suspension and everything. I think those are my corner highlights here at the Donington Park Racing Circuit, especially with this Grand Prix layout. A few cars getting ready for race number 4. In fact, the entire field of 27, it looks like, getting ready. And JP, make your pick now. Who wins?
Oh, I don't know. This is going to be a good one. I'm going to put Nathan Davies on the spot right here.
He is starting from 11th place, and I think we've seen winners come from further back, but it's going to take some melee here at the start. We'll see how things go. Red lights on, waiting on green lights here to get things kicked off in race number 4. Timer is out, just waiting on those green lights to fire up, and racing is underway in race 4 at Donington Park. Three wide through most of the field. 2 wide now up front with teammates Sutherland and Martin side by side down the Craner curves. Look at this entire field with Scott Smith just behind. Multiple cars out in the grass. This is about to get messy.
Oh no,
Big
not slowing down
contact. You're
enough.
kidding me. Scott Malcolm wipes out a few of them. Massive, massive contact.
But look at that battle up ahead. They were going side by side up turn 7. You can see most of the field actually going side by side. Position still, a lot of positions still yet to be decided as we head into Compass turn number 8. Looks like the battle for the lead as well. Still not, wow, those two actually, Andrew, I was going to mention, they kind of checked away.
Yeah, there's a whole lot left to happen in this race. You can see the entire field now working onto the Starkey Straight. McEwen in a side-by-side, it looks like, as most of the field is this first lap. Sutherland leading us down to the S's, and Smith sideways gets a gather back on it, but the whole field coming at him doesn't get hit. Good heads-up driving from everybody behind to miss him. And we'll go down to the Melbourne Hairpin for the first time. 3 wide in this grouping. Winner backs out, gets in behind Holman, and they get it sorted out. Nathan Davies there, shoulders car 502 out of the way. Davies getting rough and tumble.
Yeah, things are getting very, very interesting. Drivers, obviously, they know this is the last chance. Davies goes really deep, a bit of contact, and he's going to be stuck. Oh.
These guys do not know what the word patience means. We're seeing that as here's the entire field across the line to wrap up lap number 1. I don't even want to leave this yet to get a replay.
Oh, me neither. I don't think we should, Andrew, actually, because this is just way too good. You can see even more drivers going side by side. We might even see 3 wide action soon because this seems so amazing.
Smith up the inside. Actually, that was Scott Smith up the inside of Rob Jackson, taking that spot back away. Rob Jackson now just ahead of his teammate in the exemplar number 5 of Martin Shirley, with James Neal just behind. McAnderson there as well. Carl Hardy, Neil Ferrier is back here at 15th spot. One car flashing, Craig Schill, Ian Manners, Fiona Siddons. Fiona now leading in amateur once again. And oh, contact there at the apex. Farrier and Hardy. Farrier shoves Hardy out in the dirt, takes that spot away. Rob Jackson losing spots. Farrier up the inside there in Coppice. Neil Farrier, oh my goodness.
Really good. I mean, really good. As you can see, a few extra drivers going side by side. Is that Nathan Davies? No, that is Fiona Siddons, maybe? Going side by side, as you can see up here, down into the S's. Drivers again, just trying to follow single file. We saw what happens when we go side by side. Contact is bound to happen, but you can see it looks like everybody makes it through safely, at least this time around. As you can see, a few extra drivers going side by side into the Melbourne hairpin, and that works out safely.
Contact up the hill, though. They get things sorted. They go down to Goddard's. There's a lot happening. There is a proper lot happening. One car into the pit lane. That is Nathan Davies in car 555. I would imagine that is for incidents for car 555.
Yeah, that is unfortunately the commentator's curse as well, Andrew. So it's still working. It's still there. I'm so sorry, Nathan. But yeah, as we come back to the racing, it's crazy. It's only been 4 minutes, Andrew. It feels like we're racing for so much more, at least on this race number 4. But the action has been non-stop so far. Really good to see. Looks like this is McEwen holding off everybody. No, this is Martin ahead of him.
No, this is actually right around the top 10. Shirley in car 5 in 11th, battling here with Farrier. James Neve just ahead in that 507. Oh, and contact! Farrier and Martin gonna spill off the course in turn number 8. And in the gravel there in Coppice, both of these guys headed well down the order, and everything that Farrier had going right has just been unraveled, along with Martin Shirley, who's going to take the trip back onto the course here in turn 8. Gets on behind Sir Alan Toon, just ahead of Roger Morton. And how about Roger Morton back here as well? 21st spot. Things happened to him early, and he's having a pretty bad day as a result of it. Ian Manners side by side, or at least trying to challenge here with Craig Schill. They'll go down to the Melbourne hairpin, and Manners at the inside, right to the back end of Rob Jackson. Schill crosses him back up. Carl Hardy rather in all of this. We'll go back up to Goddard's. Here we go, side by side, 2 rows deep. And this is deep in the field, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th. Hardy there, he loses that spot to Manners. Oh, we got a change for the race lead. One car in the dirt, that's Sutherland.
No, he's going to spin out of the lead. Holman is going to be gifted that race lead for the time being. Be careful on the rejoin. He's going to reverse, trying to get back safely. But boy, oh boy, what happened here? Unfortunately, he's going to be dropping all the way down, maybe even the top 20 low. It looks like he's going to retain that position. But wow, what a change we just had. And I can't believe it.
16th spot now for Sutherland. Let's go back and take a look at what happens to him. It was a 3-wide battle. He was slow in Goddard's, and that sets all of this up. We'll take a look at it here. Watch Lee Holmes just behind and James Holman in 3rd. This is how they come down to Goddard's. They had a pretty orderly run through Melbourne. Lee Holmes sets the corner up, and oh man, Sutherland just ran completely wide. That opens the door, 2 wide there. Here comes Holman with a run. So Holman's going to go right side. Sutherland in the middle, and Holmes on the very outside of the corner. Down to turn 1 will go, and Sutherland just didn't turn.
Yeah, maybe just a bit too hesitant to turn on his teammate, and unfortunately for him, Lee Holmes was, well, he needed to turn at one point, so unfortunately a bit of contact between them. That's going to cost him the race lead, and, well, he's even outside the top 15, as you mentioned, so really unfortunate set of circumstances for Sutherland, and he's going to have to fight really hard to get back inside the top 10. Meanwhile, the number 4, well, he's still leading, but Lee Holmes is not giving him a lot of breathing room.
It's a pretty spread out top of the order, but if you go back down to 6th, 7th, and 8th, you've got 3 cars close together. Scott Smith, Joe Winter, and James Neve in a row here. Let's go on board with Neve.
So you can see this 8th place for Neve.
Purple.
Yeah, there he goes. A fast lap. Reaches on board with the fastest driver. Oh, contact! This is going to allow James Neve to really close up. He chooses a bit of the wrong side, but luckily he makes it work. Winter try to close the door on him. Neve is going to have the inside line for this left-hander, but the outside line for the right-hander. Can he make it stick on the outside? No, he's going to wait. Try to get the position back on the exit. Can the number 507 get a good enough exit? Winter tries to cover him. but Neve looks like he just runs a little bit of juice. He's gonna try to make it work on the outside of 6, inside of 7. He's there. The number 11 tries to not leave him a lot of room, and contact made.
What a catch there from Winter.
Wow.
He gets back going. A quick 180, flips it back around to the J-turn, and gets back onto the course, battling here with Carl Hardy now. Out wide in Coppice, and here comes Robin Walters, it looks like. We haven't said that name in a battle all day long, but Robin Walters is here, battling here with Joe Winter. They'll go down to the S's. Walters backs out, and that gives that spot up, assuredly, to car number 11. Maybe not. A good run here.
Yeah, Walters on the inside. He's gonna probably go deep. He was a bit cautious on the exits. Will he dare down the inside?
Ooh,
Yes, he will. He goes really close to the apex. That's gonna allow him to get a good run out
Good
and close the door. Really good, really safe as well. Winter's gonna switch back though. That's gonna be important for him. He's gonna have the inside line through the final corner. Walters goes really wide, and Winter's got the position back. A beautiful battle between these two.
Walters can't quite get the cut back. And now Smith and Neve, they've split apart. Up here for the 7th and 8th positions. Hardy and Schill, they're split apart. Winter, Walters, the closest battle furthest forward, actually. Really interesting how things work out here. Winter slow out of Redgate. They'll head down the Craner curves.
So now down to Korean curves, just following one another really closely. And I don't think this is going to be a move that Walters would try to do this early, trying to get a good enough exit. He cuts a little bit, but it looks like he doesn't carry too much speed as he kind of runs, well, leaves too much room on the exit still to be used. But boy, this is some good racing. As you can see now, Rob Jackson really close in and looking down the inside of Manners, and he's going to get that position, Andrew. Just like that, the position is done.
Big pass there for Rob Jackson, now up to position number 13. And clears and gaps car 501. Maybe not. Ian Manners, a good run out of there. Coppice? No, he will now fall back. I think might have... Oh, I don't know. He is very slow compared to Rob Jackson. Very, very slow there. I wonder if he's trying to conserve fuel or something. I don't know why else he would be that slow. Let's go up to the top 5 then. Andy McEwen starting to close in on Daniel Martin. This would be for 3rd on the racetrack and 2nd in Pro-Am.
Yeah, McEwen trying to finish this round on a high. Obviously, he won race number 1, so he started on a high. Andrew, do you think a podium is a good standoff? You can see Michael Steele just behind him. Well, teammates flashing headlights, so tandem teamwork around there?
Charles McEwen with the flash at Martin. Steele is in the 5th spot further back. Oh, here we go. McEwen starting to dance around, look for an opening, gets to the left side here of Martin. Has to fall back in behind. Does he make a move then in turn 4 potentially? Oh, he just lost a lot of time there.
Yeah, but he gained it right back under braking. Unfortunately, that's going to compromise us. Looks like we have a car just outside the top 10. That's the 582. I can't quite remember the number, but look. Oh, that's Craig Schill, actually. Yeah, just came to mind. So Craig looks like he had a bit of an off-track excursion as we cut back to McEwen. Still trying to find a way past Martin. Still flush the headlights, Andrew. So I don't think it's out of frustration. It's just trying to force Martin to a mistake.
Now on board with Michael Steele behind his time for fun teammate. McEwen dances around here with Martin, dancing down the Starkey Straight. They'll go down to the S's here. McEwen very close. Steele's able to get a little bit closer on entry. Follows nicely through the chicane. We'll work down to Melbourne here. Let's go on board now with McEwen. This is down into Melbourne, goes to the left side, and early braking there out of Martin wants to hold that spot up, but even on the handbrake there, if you saw the left rear stop, actually that was the right rear, I guess, but either way, the inside rear corner stopped, picked up. This is down to Goddard's now, nose to tail, 3 cars deep.
Oh, and Martin looks like he locked up a little bit. He's going to lose that position right on the exit. We might even see 3 wide action around here. So Martin is going to be sandwiched between his 2 teammates. Will he? Looks like Michael Steele's not close enough, but McEwen is going to brave it around the outside. Will he? No, he's going to try to get it on the exit, and yes, he does. So looks like Martin's having a little bit of issue. Maybe, as you mentioned, Andrew, using the handbrake, that's going to cost him 2 positions.
He is definitely moving back quickly now. Steele giving a friendly flash to his teammate. McEwen down to the old hairpin. This is for, again, 4th spot on the race. Well, 3rd, 4th, 5th on the racetrack, and 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in Pro-Am competition. James Holman is driven away, but you know what? Lee Holmes is close. This is for the race win here, JP. Holmes is close to an overall win.
Yeah, he's been very close. Looks like this time might be his chance. Obviously, he's running out of time as well. Only 2 minutes and 40 to go. So if if he wants to make a move, he needs to do it quickly. But Andrew, once again, Holman has that straight line advantage. So as long as he can keep himself within a safe distance, that looks like it's around 0.3 of a second. He's gonna be safe, at least coming down to the S's, as long as he doesn't make a mistake. So this time, Holman just needs to hit his marks lap after lap until we get the white flag, and he should be safe. But Lee Holmes is doing a fantastic job keeping up with the number 4.
Lee is here. We've got 2 laps to go this time by. In fact, this is 3 laps to go that we're on. And when we get to the start-finish line, it will be popsicle sticks in the air. Just 2 laps remaining here at Donington Park. And there it is. 2 laps to go for Lee Holmes and James Holman, well out in front of the field. Let's check in further back. Carl Hardy, Joe Winter. This is down to Goddard's. Winter in the 10th position. Hardy in 9th. Walters just behind in 11th. Craig Schill is in 12th. And further back, Tom Mayle working on Ian Manners for 14th spot.
Yeah, Tom really trying to get that comeback race. And unfortunately, it looks like he cannot really pass, at least for this time being. Obviously, he's running out of laps as well, as we cut to Dale Bennison, who currently leads the amateur class in 17th place. He has Shirley just behind him as a safer buffer between him and 2nd place on the Pro-Am class. So a really good race for him, Andrew, and that's not a name we've mentioned too often as well. I'm pretty sure it might be the first time we're mentioning, at least on Race Pace.
Yeah, one of the newer drivers here in the series, brand new for Safeguard and Result Clothing. As he's headed down to the old hairpin with about a lap and a half to go. He's got 2 seconds. No, make that 5 seconds back to Fiona Siddons. That gap is opening up. Andrew Littler will be next up in amateur competition with Roger Morton working on that car. So teammates here technically through the Result Clothing ladder. Tom Mayle and Rob Jackson doing battle. They're side by side. This is out of Coppice. This is a great battle for the 13th position.
It's a really good battle right here. So you can see heading down, looks like I was going to say the back straightaway, and yes, it is, down into the S's. And, well, they're going to retain position. Really difficult to go side by side, and how many contact we've seen. It looks like Holman is going to take the white flag this lap. And, well, look at that gap, Andrew. Really increased to Lee Holmes.
Holding Lee Holmes behind him as a couple of time for fun teammates work up to them a little further back. I don't know that they're going to be able to catch them, certainly by any means. They're 4 seconds back still, but making inroads on that lead at the very least in case something happens between Holman and Holmes. There is the white flag presented by Whiplash Simcams. Holman through turn 4, and I think he started to falter for a minute, saving his stuff until Lee got there, and then turned the wick right back up because he has been sensational these last 2 laps. Really good running here out of James Holman in car number 4.
Absolutely. As soon as he takes the lead, there's no stopping him. The gap might come down, but looks like no mistake from the number 4 throughout the day. That's going to be his 2nd win of the day as well, isn't it, Andrew? So,
well, it's not over yet.
I just jinxed him, didn't I?
We'll see. Lee Holmes certainly hopes so, as Lee is about 9/10 back. This is into the S's for the final time. Is anything going to change here? Lee gets aggressive in the S's, makes up a 10.5, 2/10. Is he going to try something? He's way too far back, right? He's still gaining here on Holman. Very quick that time. Closes in into the hairpin. Down to a half second, 4/10. Is he going to try something here in Goddard's? I think he's way too far back. Over a half second, 6/10. He could try a big send, but Lee Holmes just too far back. And Lee will happily take the Pro-Am victory as James Holman will leave turn number 12, a 2-time race winner on the day.
Really good race from the number 4. Lee Holmes just came half a second short. As you can see, McEwen and Seal flashing his headlights. Even Martin as well joining in on the fun. Anderson is going to finish in 6th place. Neven 7th. Smith looks like he might just hold off Hardy, who holds off Winter for 10th place.
Everybody coming to the line here. Let's see, Tom Mayle is next up. There he goes for RD Sim Sport. Craig Schill, Rob Jackson, Rob Sutherland across the line in 15th. Ian Manners will be next in 16th. Martin Shirley in 17th spot. Dale Bennison 18th. Fiona Siddons will come up just short of that win. So Dale Bennison does win in amateur competition today. Andrew Littler will be next across. Then Roger Morton in the 21st spot. A race to the line there. Roger couldn't quite get him. Alan Toon will be next up, and Nathan Davies The guy that you said would win, JP, will be the final car on the lead lap.
He probably doesn't want to talk to me after this race. He probably doesn't want me to mention his name. I'm sorry, Nathan. My commentary scores is on point. But yeah, unfortunately, a bad 4th race for him. But I guess overall, Andrew, it was a really good day for each and every single driver.
Well, I wouldn't say each and every single driver, but certainly the top 10 or so seem to be pretty consistent up there and have some great battles. I'd say Holman, Holmes, McEwen, Seal, and Martin certainly had some great runs. Even Anderson and Neve potentially. Scott Smith was all right. Carl Hardy had some good runs. Joe Winter, I think, is going to look to improve on this. I think he's close, but needs just a little bit more to get him going in these next couple of weeks, certainly at Knock Hill next week. Let's go ahead and take a look then at our race results. Race number 4 in the books.
And with race number 4, the car number 4 is going to win in first place. Obviously, Lee Holmes, as I mentioned, is 0.5 of a second away from that win. McEwen is going to finish in 3rd. Michael Seal in 4th. Daniel Marks is going to finish in 5th place ahead of Mick Anderson, entering 6th place, 2nd place in the pro class. James Neve is going to finish 7th place. Scott Smith in 8th. Carl Hardy in 9th. Joe Winter in 10th. And I just noticed the top 3 are the winners of each class.
No. Lee Holmes is, again, he's in that amateur.
Oh yeah,
amateur
true.
number. He is for Pro-Am, and hopefully that gets sorted out for next week. He's on the. I promise you, he's on the sign-up sheet as car number 535. But for some reason, he's joining. I think he's in protest. I think he wants to be an amateur driver, and he's in protest of it or something in number 935. So we'll see if that changes next week. Hopefully that does. Finishing 11th place, you'll find car 563, Robin Walters, new to the series as well. Tom Nail, they're in 12th. Craig Schill in 13th. Rob Jackson 14th. Rob Sutherland there in 15th spot. To finish out your top 20, you've got Ian Manners, Martin Shirley, Dale Bennison, Fiona Siddons, and Andrew Littler, the last 3 of which are your amateur podium.
21st place goes the ways of Roger Morton ahead of Sir Alan Toon, who looks like Andrew just by 0.3 of a second holds off Nathan Davies in 23rd. Martin Johnston is going to finish 24th, 6 laps down. Neil Ferrier, unfortunately, is going to finish only 25th, 8 laps down. Stephen Daly in 26th, and Scott Malcolm 27th place.
27 cars there in our final race. We had a couple of 31 car races, a 29, a 27, a couple of random weird inverts, and certainly a whole lot of great racing in between. Let's go ahead and get ready then for some post-race interviews. And first up, it looks like it's going to be somebody that finally gets a touring car overall win, and it opened up the day on a really high note for him as well. And this is a self-proclaimed not at all touring car driver, but it didn't quite look like it did it. Andy McEwen with a race win earlier today, a podium here overall in race number 4. Andy, I know you talk about how you're not really a touring car guy. You usually just run the Miatas, but it seems like we missed out on some potential really good runs for you last season. Really good stuff today at Donington Park.
Yeah, thanks, mate. I think I found a new favourite toy. You know, this Hyundai's a proper bit of kit when you know what you're doing with it. Yeah, wasn't a bad night, was it?
No, open the day with a race win. How do you try and advance from that point, especially when you have the invert get all kind of mixed up then for race number 2? You just got a race win. You know you're starting deeper in the field. How do you game plan for that?
Well, I believe there was an administrative error, which meant that the reverse grid didn't quite pan out. So I was quite grateful for that because I was supposed to start, outside the top 20, and I ended up 6th, I think. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I kind of thought that might be the one good result I got all night in race 1, because when you're deep in the field around here especially, it's carnage. But I think I did quite a good job actually of dodging most of the carnage. Had a couple of bits of contact here and there, but it's almost unavoidable really. But yeah, you just need to try and avoid the worst of it. Really look as far up the road as you can, try and anticipate what's going to happen, and if all else fails, close your eyes and hope for the best.
Now it's Knock Hill Reverse next week for the Miatas and the touring cars. How do you prep for that? Obviously, I'm sure you guys have run some Knock Hill Reverse laps, but that might have been for fun stuff. International, that is Knock Hill. How do you get ready for doing everything backwards?
Well, I love to drive the Knock Hill Reverse circuit, actually. I think it's a really fun layout. That whole run from the chicane down through the second half of the lap, that's a proper roller coaster ride, but it's going to be tough to overtake round there. It's not easy when you're going the proper way round, but really there's only one proper overtaking opportunity when it's reversed. So I think we need to really work on qualifying. Obviously, we aced qualifying tonight with me and Michael locking out the front row. If we can do that again at Knock Hill, that's a good start. and then it really will just be about survival. I think there's going to be quite a few incidents next week.
And how big of a deal is this to now have teammates in these touring cars that you can work with? It seems like it's even bled over to the Miatas on Tuesdays.
Oh, it's made the world of difference. It really has. I mean, part of me enjoys going it alone because every car that you come up against, you're racing against. You can overtake them. You can attack. But obviously, when you've got teammates, you have to play the team game sometimes. I'm actually surprised how much I'm enjoying it, really. And it's definitely helpful having other people to... if you're trying setups, we've got 3 different drivers who all can try different things in practice and try and converge on the best setup. In the races, we've got eyes everywhere, people sort of looking out for what's happening. So, and above all else, it's nice just to be in the Discord chat and have people to talk to. I'm definitely enjoying myself a lot more now than I have been.
Well, there you go. Andy McEwen enjoying his time at Time for Fun Motorsport. I guess it's pretty fun over there at Time for Fun Motorsport. Congratulations, buddy. A race win tonight overall, and I think even an extra one in Pro-Am. Just really good stuff tonight, and look forward to seeing how you do at Knock Hill next week.
Looking forward to it. A quick shout out. I believe my dad might be watching tonight. He tunes in when he can, and he's starting to really enjoy this sim racing thing. So if you're watching, I hope you enjoyed it.
Does that mean Dad McEwen is getting a sim rig soon?
Dad McEwen is knocking on the door of 80 years old, but he also plays 2 rounds of golf a week, so I don't know. He's young for his age.
Well, that's going to have to happen at some point, even if it's just he gets on your rig one night and goes out there and smokes the field. I don't know, but congratulations once again, Andy. We'll talk to you next week at Knock Hill.
Cheers, guys. See you then.
Andy McEwen with a really good run of things tonight. JP, that means James Holman is next up, and he also had a really good night of things.
Oh yeah, James, you had a fantastic night. That Audi seemed to be on rails as soon as it took the lead. Talk us through it.
Yeah, it was a good one for sure. 2 wins and 100% podium. I'll take that. Yeah, I mean, I'd done no practice. I literally jumped into qualifying with 12 minutes remaining or 11 minutes remaining or something. So didn't have a setup. Just put it on baseline setup and made a couple of tweaks throughout the night, and it was a good night.
Absolutely, it was a fantastic day. Without practice, it makes it even more impressive. What do you think was the key to hold off the lead, especially in the last race with Lee Holmes trying to essentially overtake you?
Yeah, Lee was very impressive there tonight. The speed he had there in the Honda was very good. Was pushing hard, and yeah, the toe round here is obviously very powerful because there's a lot of straights. But yeah, I think with about 2 laps to go, I really concentrated hard and actually matched my best lap of the race. So kind of just meant I could relax on the last lap. But no, Lee was going well there, and yeah, it was. Everyone seemed quick tonight, so I'm very happy to get 4 podiums and 2 wins, so it was good.
So 4 podiums for car number 4. Could we expect a similar performance next week at Knock Hill?
I'm actually away next week, so I'm not going to be here. I'm at a wedding, so I will watch back the stream, and I look forward to watching the chaos that is Knock Hill Reverse.
Yeah. But looking, obviously, so next week you're going to be watching the stream. Obviously, you just mentioned that you think it's going to be a little bit of a carnage. What do you do, with a week? Do you already start preparing for Sonoma, or is he going to follow the strategy of just hopping in straight into practice and adjusting the car throughout the night?
If anyone knows me, I don't really do any practice. I just turn up on the night and have a go. So yeah, no, I don't think I'll do any practice, to be honest with you. If I try and get on for half an hour practice before the qualifying, that's normally enough for me. So yeah, no, I'd probably just be doing. I've got a couple of endurance events. I'm doing the Spa 12, the Creventic this weekend, so be doing that. And then I say next week I'm busy, so yeah, probably won't get much time on the rig after this weekend. And yeah, just try and pick up where we left off in Sonoma and try and get a few more wins and a few more podiums.
Absolutely. With that being said, James, enjoy your week off, and hopefully we can talk to you at Sonoma.
I do as well. Thank you very much. Cheers.
So Andrew, that was James Holman, 4 podiums for car number 4 and 2 wins. It was certainly a fantastic day for him.
I think a really good start to the season, certainly for James, and we'll see how things go the rest of the season. Obviously, he said he's missing next week, but still some good things on the way, I think, for car number 4. Let's go ahead and take a look at our broadcasts that are coming up here on Pit Stop TV, including later this evening with the North American Racing League at the Long Beach Street Course. We've seen this a time or two already this season, JP. In fact, we had Porsche Cup cars there not so long ago. Then we had IORL Indy cars there the day after. Now we get GT3 cars there nearly a month later before we go next week to Knock Hill Racing Circuit Reverse. And, well, there we go. You see Road Atlanta there on the listing for the North American Racing League Porsche Cup guys on Tuesday. So really a fun set of racetracks coming up.
Absolutely, it's just so much fun seeing, obviously, you know, the races that we're gonna have tonight and obviously next week as well. I'm really looking forward to Knock Hill. It was a fantastic race last season. It's bound to be even crazier with the reverse grid. Hopefully not carnage, as James Homan announced it to be, but well, who knows? We're just gonna have to wait until Tuesday, aren't we?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, to say the least, next week. Definitely, you'll want to make sure to tune in here to Pit Stop TV and all the different places you can follow along with us.
Absolutely, you can follow us on each and every single social media. Let it be for news, live updates during the race, and obviously our live coverage on Facebook.com/PitStopTV, Twitter.com/PitStopTV_, Instagram.com/Pit_Stop_TV, and YouTube.com/PitStopTV1.
So another day of racing here for the BSRTC guys. A big thanks to, of course, our crew here at Pit Stop TV, JP Costa alongside this evening. And our crew extends further beyond that. We'll have Emerson Arden later on social media. Of course, Devin Kent Zimmerman and Ed Shearer work with him on Wednesdays of the Outlaws Sim Series. Let's not forget guys like Zach Murtis, Caleb Gladney, and so many others here at Pit Stop TV. So many great people make so many great things happen here at the channel, and it is not without appreciation. A big thank you to all of you watching this evening, checking out the action here at the Donington Park Racing Circuit. 4 races in for the day, and 3 different winners. 1 two-time winner, that was James Holman, joining Neil Ferrier as the only multi-time winner so far. In fact, Ferrier's got 3, Holman's got 2, then Seal, Winter, and McEwen each have 1 apiece, as we are 2 weeks now into this brand new season. That will do it here from the Donington Park Racing Circuit. We, again, certainly thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time out. And Donington Park is done. That means Knock Hill is next up, but we certainly hope you'll join us this evening for Long Beach Street Course Racing with the North American Racing League GT3 Series.